Hi, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. So, now that it's October and planner season is in full swing, it's the time of year when I take stock of what's been working, what hasn't been working, and what I want to move it to my next year's planner. So, today I'm going to talk a little bit about how I started bullet journaling and why I'm not likely to go back to using a pre made planner, which is what I had been using for most of my life. So, I have chronic health issues and I've been tracking some health parameters for many, many years. So, in addition to a planner for appointments and scheduling, I also had a pocket size monthly planner that I used for health tracking. And I would pick up something like this from Target and keep it in my bedside table. And I would fill it out at the end of the day. So I started out just tracking my period and a few medications and symptoms. But eventually, I felt like it was becoming too chaotic and that I didn't have enough space in something like this to track everything I wanted to track. And I didn't want to switch to a weekly layout because I like seeing the entire month at one time. And I didn't want to switch to a bigger monthly planner because I didn't want to have a big monthly planner on my bedside table. And I was afraid that I would run out of space again pretty quickly. So then I decided I wanted to create my own health tracker in a blank notebook. And I didn't want to use a lined notebook because my original idea was to use the notebook in landscape mode. So I went on Amazon to find a dot grid notebook. And while I was checking the reviews of various dot grid notebooks, I came across many people mentioning bullet journaling. And I found that very intriguing, which led me down quite the rabbit hole. And I felt like bullet journaling was exactly what I needed. So, this is what the first iteration of my health tracker looked like in my first bullet journal. I did do it in landscape mode. I put my header and then the days of the week. And I did put a line between Saturday and Sunday to have a visual separation from week to week. And then that gave me space over here to write in the medications and treatments as well as the symptoms I wanted to track. It didn't give me a whole lot of space, so I did have to use abbreviations for the medications. So I would write down the time that I took each medication. Some medications I didn't take every day, and then I would write a dash if I didn't have certain symptoms. And if I did have symptoms, I would rate them on a scale from 1 to 10. I also had space to put whether or not it was raining because I was curious to see if the rain was affecting my symptoms. I also had a little bit of space for any other information that I thought might be helpful to keep track of. But the problem with this was I only left myself one square to write the time I was taking medications. So I was rounding to the closest hour, which is not very accurate. So, and I do use military time so that I don't have to write AM or PM. So this is the second iteration of my health tracker, very similar to the previous one. except now I would just write AM meds, evening meds, and late meds, and I would list each medication along the bottom here where I had more space. Some medications I listed individually if I wasn't taking them consistently every day. And then I was able to list my symptoms here along with the rain and additional notes as well. This layout didn't leave me a lot of space for notes, so I abandoned this layout pretty quickly. So I switched to a 2-page layout. So I had my days of the week going down the side now, my medications and symptoms going across the top. This layout gave me 2 spaces to write the time that I was taking medications, and I was able to round to the closest quarter hour. And then I was listing my medications along the side this way so that I would have more space for notes throughout the month. And this layout worked for me really well for a very long time. This is my current layout, which looks very similar to the previous one, with the days of the week, medications and symptoms along the top, space for notes along the side. But this time I started using a Dutch door so that I could have a second page, and I didn't have to redo my title or the days of the week, but I could also add my exercise and list my medications this way. Plus, I had now a whole nother page for additional notes that maybe didn't really fit in this space. So I could actually write out full sentences explaining things that might have happened throughout the day that might have affected how I was feeling. I could also make notes of doctor's appointments and any changes that we were making during the appointments. I like to have all my medical information together instead of spread out through the book along with the planning pages. So I set up, or I leave enough pages to have all of my health trackers together. And I like to have these little tabs just for quick reference. And then this is the cover page for the health section of my bullet journal. I find this very helpful as well. I like to have all of my prescriptions written together along with the prescription numbers and the pharmacy phone number. That way it makes it easier for me to call in any refills. If there's any medication that comes from a different pharmacy, I can just add that number as well. I also have all my doctors and their phone numbers listed so that I can have them handy for when I need to contact my doctor's office. So I feel like for the most part, this system is working well for me and will likely remain unchanged. One thing that I might change on this page is I might leave space for non-prescription medications and supplements because doctors are often asking for a complete list of those as well. So it'd be nice to have them all together on one page. Another change that I think I might make for next year is I was thinking of adding in a tip-in page with kind of the major medical happenings that have occurred in the past, maybe when symptoms began, any major testing, x-rays, MRIs, things like that, and surgeries, so that I can have that information handy as well. And then I thought I would do it as a tip-in. That way I can add any new information and then move it to future bullet journals when the time comes. So that's my current system and thoughts about next year's system. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. Thanks for sticking with me, and I will talk to you next time.